The year 2013 started with President Barack Obama summoning a divided nation to act with passion and dedication to broaden equality and prosperity, nurture democracy around the world, and combat global warming as he embarked on a second term before a vast and cheering crowd that spilled down the historic National Mall in January.
Obama do solemnly swear.
I, Barack Hussein Obama, do solemnly swear
Execute
that I will faithfully execute
the office of President of the United States.
the office of President of the United States.
In February, leaders from Africa's Great Lakes region signed a new peace deal aimed at bringing stability to the war-torn east of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Ban Ki-moon, the UN Secretary General, witnessed the signing at the Africa Union's headquarters in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The Peace Framework Agreement led to the creation of a special UN intervention brigade in eastern DRC to combat rebel groups and renew political efforts.
When there is a clear violation of human rights, clear violation of fundamental principles, then United Nations has to take side, criticize those perpetrators.
The peace efforts finally bore fruit as the rebels signed a peace deal with the government in the end of the year. In February, Pope Benedict XVI, in a surprising move, announced he was resigning. Benedict was elected Pope in 2005 after the death of Pope John Paul II. He resigned amidst a flurry of allegations of corruption and sex abuse scandals against the Church. The official Vatican position cited ill health as a reason for his stepping down. Pope Francis, aged 77, the first from Latin America, filled his position. On March 4th, Kenya carried out a disputed but largely peaceful election and transitioned to a new system of devolved governance. It was the first one under the country's new constitution, whose centerpiece was devolved governance and a bicameral parliament. Kenya's Supreme Court upheld Uhuru Kenyatta's election as president, rejecting challenges to the vote.
The following is the unanimous decision of the court. 1. As to whether the presidential election held on March 4th, 2013, was conducted in a free, fair, transparent, and credible manner in compliance with the provisions of the Constitution and all relevant provisions of the law. It is the decision of the court that the said elections were indeed conducted in compliance with the Constitution and the law.
The president and his deputy William Ruto won the election despite being indicted by the International Criminal Court for crimes against humanity following the events of 2007 post-election violence in Kenya. Across Africa, rebels under the Seleka coalition overthrew Central Africa Republic's president Francois Bozize just 2 months after they had signed a peace agreement. Mr. Bozize, who himself came to power in a military coup in 2003 after overthrowing Felix Patasse, fled to Cameroon. The conflict in Central Africa Republic continues to claim lives. On June 8th, former South African President Nelson Mandela was admitted to a hospital with lung infection. He had been ill for days and was transferred to a hospital in Pretoria.
In Mr. Mandela's case, we know, besides age, we know that he's previously had tuberculosis, and that can weaken the lung defenses and make one more prone to infections. Secondly, we know that Mr. Mandela worked in the quarry on Robben Island for many years, and he's been chronically exposed to dust from crushing rocks, and we know that also is a potent suppressor of efficient lung defenses.
On July 4th, a polarized Egypt faced the most critical phase of its post-revolutionary life after Egypt's army ousted the country's elected president Mohamed Morsi. The pro-Morsi supporters labeled the ouster a coup, sparking protests across Egypt. The protests turned bloody in August when Egyptian security forces stormed 2 protest camps occupied by Morsi supporters in Cairo. It is estimated that the crackdown left more than 500 people dead and 3,500 wounded. In August, Zimbabwe's President Robert Mugabe won a 7th term in office amid claims of electoral fraud. Mr. Mugabe, aged 89, won 61% of the vote against Prime Minister Morgan Tsvangirai's 34%. In September, Ibrahim Boubacar Keita was sworn in as Mali's new president at the Supreme Court in the capital, Bamako. The election of the new president was intended to restore normalcy after a coup and French-led military action against rebels in the north.
Dans l'intérêt supérieur du peuple.
On September 21st, 72 people lost their lives after a terrorist attack at the Westgate Mall in Nairobi. Al-Qaeda-linked Al-Shabaab claimed responsibility for the attack. On December 6th, Nelson Mandela died aged 95. Mr. Mandela spent 27 years in jail before becoming South Africa's first black president in 1994. Mandela was laid to rest in his rural home in Kunu in Eastern Cape Province.
Mr. Lionel Chasman.
As the year came to a close on December 16th, South Sudan President Salva Kiir said his forces had quashed an attempted coup by disgruntled soldiers after a heavy exchange of fire overnight in the capital, Juba. He accused the former Vice President Dr. Riek Machar of being behind the coup. At Ebru, we say goodbye 2013 and wish you a prosperous 2014.